Dwayne Johnson's surprise appearance at Comic-Con's Black Adam panel had everyone squealing with excitement. The trailer reveal and Johnson's own comments promised one of the most epic additions to the DCEU so far. And if you're wondering what they're doing differently, we've got answers. So in this video, we're taking a look at how The Rock and the crew brought Black Adam to life and why he might change the DCEU forever. Let's dive in. First up, what's the concern that most fans have about a live-action Black Adam? Black Adam's important for more than one reason. It's not only introducing a fan-favorite villain and anti-hero to the DCEU, but it's also going to be Justice League of America's live-action debut, unless you count the 1997 disaster, which, you know, we worked hard to erase from our minds. Now, everyone's obviously super stoked to see Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate and Noah Centineo's Atom Smasher, but people are justifiably more hyped about Johnson's take on Black Adam. Longtime fans of the comics are understandably concerned about how the actor's going to take on such a complex role. Comics such as Black Adam, The Dark Age, Doomsday Clock, and Black Rain are all excellent reads if you want to know more about this complicated nature, but they're not the only ones. World War III is perhaps one of the greatest Black Adam stories told, so how do you blend all of that together? He's a prideful god who protects his country and his people, and that puts him at odds with the JLA and Justice League multiple times. But Johnson had a surprisingly great answer. He explained that the mythology is the most important aspect when crafting an origin story, and if you take the character's mythology and use fans' passion for the character as inspiration, then you can move mountains. The Rock's always had a special affection for his fans, especially when it comes to the kind of projects he does. What's more, the input he's received from the fans have helped plan the next steps for the character, including the trajectory the character and his story will take in the next 5 years. What could the face of the DC universe look like in 5 years? We honestly can't imagine that, but if Johnson's true to his word, then the next 5 years of Black Adam's life will be dictated by the collective opinions of the fans. In fact, he left it up to the fans to decide future matchups. Yep, and he specifically mentioned that it could be Black Adam versus fill in the blank, and that the blank would be filled by the fans themselves. When asked whether Superman could throw his glasses into the ring for a toe-to-toe matchup, he didn't give a conclusive answer. He's pretty sly like that, leaving it up to us to decide Adam's next foe. We for one would love to see him go up against Doomsday. And on a side note, who do you think would win between the two? We have our money on Doomsday, cause of the whole adapting to the thing that kills him thing. Speaking of epic brawls, how did Johnson get into fighting shape for the movie? The short answer is that he trained long, hard, and probably maxed out every machine you can think of. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you're missing out on some baller posts, including his bald head glistening after a good workout. He's been posting regular updates about his workouts and diet for the movie, and we have to say, Chris Hemsworth's got some competition. Johnson told Men's Health that he's gone through the most difficult training of his entire life for this movie. And get this, he wanted to be more jacked than the physiques that are hand-drawn by illustrators. That's how much he trained and he ate a lot. He's got his own personal chef that prepares meals for him before he needs to eat them, and eats about 6 to 7 meals a day. So his statement that the hierarchy of power will change has some serious weight to it. And then, of course, there's the Sunday cheat meal that he has, which involves a mountain of pancakes dripping in maple syrup. We bet that helps with the size aspect. Finally, what does this all mean for the character? And how will he really come to life? That's a pretty easy question to answer for him. He's probably more passionate about this project than he's ever been for anything else. Sure, he has his business ventures and his own production company, but ever since it was announced that he's been playing a fan-favorite anti-hero, he's been over the moon. You can genuinely feel the infectious energy he gives off whenever he's talking about it. And we've usually noticed that if actors look like they're having fun doing a project, then the project will have an infectious energy to it. That's the same thing that happened with Thor Ragnarok. The actors genuinely loved filming every second of it, and look how great it turned out. But what sets Black Adam apart from the rest of Marvel, and even the DCEU to some extent, is that he has a chip on his shoulder. He's a character who's been enslaved for 5,000 years, and now he's out to exact revenge. But he also has a deep love and kinship for the people of Kahndaqian, his home country. What makes it even better is that Johnson used his own life lessons and philosophies when crafting the character. He specifically said that he ingrained those ideas in the character's DNA. Depending on how you look at the actor, he can be a hero, an anti-hero, or a villain, and sometimes it's all three at the same time, for different people. That's what's so compelling about him, and that's exactly what Johnson's going to be focusing on in this movie. The complexity, the layers, the internalized rage. All of these make Black Adam one of the most interesting characters to join the DCEU in a long time. Now for some other news. First up, will Atom Smasher get his own spin-off? One of the most exciting parts of Black Adam, other than Dr. Fate, is Noah Centineo's debut as Atom Smasher. While he was doing a press junket, Screen Rant asked him the quintessential question that we're all wondering. Is Atom Smasher going to get his own spin-off? If we're honest, that'd be pretty cool. And he's down with the idea too. Noah makes the character look awesome, and he genuinely had a great time making the movie with the rest of the crew. And he added that if the fans want a spin-off, they're gonna get a spin-off. So the idea isn't off the table. Besides, if Peacemaker and Amanda Waller can get their own spin-offs, then surely the executives at Warner Brothers can shell out a couple of bucks for Atom Smasher. Next is Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. Will Black Adam do his powers justice? Speaking of spin-offs, can you imagine one for Kent Nelson? If Brosnan wants to continue developing the character, wouldn't it be a dream come true for a lot of DC fans to see a Dr. Fate series? We know we'd be happy, but before we can get into any of that, how will Black Adam do justice to his godlike powers? In a death battle video, he officially annihilated Marvel's Doctor Strange, and that was by a mile. The dude's no pushover, and he's got a bunch of powers that the movie can explore. But with so many characters to juggle in a 2-ish hour movie, will his powers be done justice? Speaking with Screen Rant, the movie's producers, Beau Flynn and Hiram Garcia, described the character as paying tribute to Hollywood legend Pierce Brosnan. They understand that fans are eager to see Fate's badassery, and they're not taking his powers and skills lightly. Of course, bringing him to life means using a lot of CGI, because it's hard to do the character practically. But even so, they're sure fans are gonna love what the movie has in store for them. And lastly, is there a Black Adam and Shazam crossover in the books? David Sandberg has some updates. Now, we know what you're thinking. DC has to do a crossover event where Justice League, JSA, Black Adam, and Shazam all go head to head. They've created this unwieldy concoction of movies and TV series, and both Shazam: Fury of the Gods and Black Adam are slated to be moneymakers for Warner Brothers. If the two came together in a future project, the studio's going to be printing money. Shazam's already taking on Hespera and Calypso in Fury of the Gods, so the only way forward is to take on Black Adam. But we may have a long wait before it happens. See, Sandberg said that, as of right now, the two characters are their own thing, doing their own stuff. The studio hasn't even talked about it from what he knows. Besides, with Dwayne's statement that Black Adam's gonna usher in a new era for the DCEU, that's certainly a bold claim, and if the movie lives up to the hype, then there's certainly a chance that he's gonna butt heads with Shazam in the future. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching.